Picture this. The whole of existence is quietly working on your behalf. Every setback, every detour, every stretch of not knowing isn't a wall in your way. It's a gift wearing a disguise. Not one breath, not one footstep isn't arranged for your good. Even when evidence suggests otherwise, this isn't wishful thinking, it's a principle. The truth shaping your existence whether you've noticed or not. Whatever you hold on to with conviction becomes the life you live. Things are measured out according to our faith, and faith is simply staying loyal to an assumption about something unseen. When you move through your days as though everything resolves in your favor, you fall into step with that principle, thinking, speaking, and carrying yourself as someone already standing on the far side of the outcome you want. You don't chase explanations or hunt for proof. You rest inside the certainty that circumstances bend around what you assume. I once worked with a woman who arrived worn down, convinced life had been unfair to her. "I've tried everything," she said, "prayer, affirmations, visualization, and nothing's changed." I told her she'd been doing it all from the posture of someone missing something, bracing for disappointment instead of expecting good. The order had to flip. Act as though the outcome had already landed. Feel the relief now, ahead of time. Live from the finish line, not the starting block. She took this to heart, and instead of pleading for change, assumed it had already come. The opportunity arrived. Her relationships eased. Her health turned a corner. But the deeper shift happened inside her, a settled peace, a quiet strength. Assuming things always work out isn't ego, it's recognizing what's rightfully yours. You are imagination in motion, and imagination is the architect of what becomes real. Your outer world is a mirror, showing you back whatever you've decided, again and again, to believe. Everything can turn in a heartbeat if you're willing to assume it's already turned. Feel it as done. Step into the mindset of the resolution, not the problem. The creative force some call God lives inside us as our own imagination. When you picture things working out and let that feeling settle in, you're speaking a language reality has to answer. Don't let what your eyes report sway your conviction. Your senses only show you the past, never what's still becoming. The instant you welcome a new belief and wrap it in genuine feeling, you've planted something. Whether it shows results right away doesn't matter. The seed is already growing. Stay loyal to that assumption, and it becomes a tree bearing fruit. Believing when things look promising is easy. Real strength shows up when you keep believing despite the evidence. When the world says no, but something in you insists yes. Close your eyes, not to see with physical sight, but with an inner kind of vision. Imagine what it would feel like to know, without hesitation, that everything is working out. Let that feeling soak into you, then carry it through your day. That feeling itself is the prayer. It's the whole secret. Think of a moment that seemed like disaster at the time, but later turned out to be exactly what you needed. The jobs that slipped away, the people who left, the delays that frustrated you. None of it was a mistake. Every one was a stepping stone, a course correction guided by something wiser than you could see in the moment. Here's the truth. You already exist as the version of yourself for whom everything is working out. That state already exists, fully formed. Your only task is choosing which reality to occupy and staying there. Every time you tell yourself, "Things are always working out for me," you re-anchor yourself in that reality, and the world, being an honest mirror, has no choice but to show you back exactly what you've decided to believe. Transformation doesn't come from strain or effortful prayer. It comes from accepting the ending as already real. Accept the outcome now, and the path arranges itself around it. I once knew a man who lived braced for disaster. Every hiccup felt like proof doom was coming, and life obliged him. His car kept breaking down, his health declined, his relationships fell apart. I told him plainly, "You're not cursed, you're devoted to the wrong belief. Change it." He started practicing a new line, not as a wish, but as settled fact. Everything always works out for me. At first, nothing shifted, but he held steady. Then things began to move. Unexpected money, doors opening, easier smiles, better sleep. He'd become a different person through wiser assumption, not more effort. Decide right now you're finished feeding doubt. Commit to your vision instead of your fear, your future instead of your past. What you're seeing around you is the outward expression of what you've assumed. You don't fix a reflection by attacking the mirror. You fix it by becoming someone different. Act as though things always work out for you. And by act, I don't mean pretend. I mean live from that truth. Think from it. Feel from it. Let it become the climate of your inner world. Because whatever lives within eventually shows up outside. Ask yourself, what would you attempt if success were already certain? What have you been putting off? What love would you offer freely? Step into that version of yourself, not fantasy, but who you really are once you add courage and trust. You weren't put here just to react to life. You're here to shape it through the ongoing conversation you have with yourself. Notice what you tell yourself when no one's listening. Are you rehearsing the outcome you want or the one you fear? Shift the conversation. I'm supported. I'm guided. I'm favored. Life is on my side. Things always work out for me. You'll notice yourself moving and speaking differently, and people will pick up on it without naming it, because you're operating from the finish line. The power was never out there. It has always been your capacity to assume the best and hold it steady, no matter what the world insists. That steadiness is real power. Try this now, not tomorrow. When something unexpected happens, meet it with a smile. I don't see the full picture yet, but I trust this is part of it coming together. Soon you'll notice the pattern, the sense behind every twist, and carry peace because you know the truth beneath it. Your job was never to manage the how, only to hold the inner state steady. Life answers to whichever belief you hold most consistently, and when that belief is that things always work out, life has no option but to fall in line. You are the one writing this story. You were never a passenger to fate. You are the one giving it form, and whatever you imagine with conviction, you will eventually meet in your lived experience. Move forward knowing you're already on the right path. Everything is arranging itself perfectly. Trust it. Assume it. You were never meant to struggle or fight upstream. You were meant to align, allow, and assume with quiet confidence. Reality reshapes itself around your conviction. You are imagination given form, and the world is raw material in your hands, waiting to be shaped by the unshakable knowledge that things are always working out for you. This isn't just a feel-good trick, it's closer to law. The instant you settle into that conviction, you activate forces you can't see, reshaping your experience even before it shows up in the physical. Stop wrestling with the world. Stop pushing back against what is. Let go, not from weakness, but from trust. People will call it naive, but the facts you see are only echoes of beliefs held before now. Stay the course, and the facts themselves will change. Don't dwell on tomorrow. Worry and fear are just prayers for outcomes you don't want. Turn inward instead, to what's already within you. Believe you've already received it, and it comes. Move through your day carrying the quiet knowledge that life is unfolding entirely in your favor. A flight delay? Part of it working out. A rejection from someone you cared about? Also somehow working in your favor. An unplanned bill lands in your lap. Even that is a setup for greater abundance still to come. You start living from the end of calm instead of chaos, from the end of success instead of failure. The longer you stay in that state, the more your world reorganizes itself to match it. You draw in people, situations, and opportunities that harmonize with the tone of your inner life. Not through force or control, but simply by becoming the kind of person to whom those things naturally belong. There's no need to beg, hustle, or chase. All that's required is staying planted in the state of already knowing, of gratitude that arrives before the proof, of the wish already fulfilled. You move through your days wearing something like an invisible crown, not out of arrogance, but out of quiet assurance, because you know exactly who you are. You know your assumption is the cause, not the effect. You know you're joined to the very source that shaped the heavens and the earth. And when you slip, because everyone slips, simply return, close your eyes, and remember. Feel again what it's like to be supported, loved, protected, favored. Feel it down to your bones. Feel it until it feels more real than anything else. That's the actual test. Can you feel something so completely that it outweighs the evidence sitting right in front of you? If you can, the world has no choice but to catch up and mirror what you already know inside. Reality isn't solid or fixed. It's fluid, moldable, shaped entirely by consciousness. Whatever you assume long enough eventually hardens into fact. So why not assume the best? Why not decide that everything, without exception, is quietly rigged in your favor? Understand that this isn't something that only works sometimes. It's working constantly, whether you notice or not. The real question isn't whether the law functions, it's what you're feeding into it. Are you filling your mind with faith or with fear? Are you rehearsing lack or celebrating what's already yours? If you want your life to shift, your assumptions have to shift first. And to change an assumption, you first have to catch yourself mid-doubt. Notice the story running through your head all day. Is it a story of what if this falls apart? Or one of this is already coming together? You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need proof. You don't need agreement from a single other person. All you need is your imagination and the willingness to live from the ending. The ending is what breathes life into everything leading up to it. It's the actual cause. Live there and watch the whole world reorganize itself around your conviction. You weren't put here to try. You were put here to simply be. Not to hope, but to know. And once you truly know, at a deep level, that everything is working out for you, you become unshakable. Storms can roll in, winds can howl, but you stay centered, because your calm was never tied to circumstance in the first place. It comes from within, from the state you choose to occupy. That's real mastery. Not controlling events, but holding your inner state steady, no matter what those events look like. The outside world becomes a stage where your inner world gets performed back to you. You're the writer, the director, and the actor all at once. And the script is whatever you've decided to assume. Don't let this stay theoretical. Test it. Pick one area of your life that feels uncertain right now. Close your eyes and picture the outcome you actually want. Feel what it's like to know, without a doubt, that it's already settled, already yours. Hold on to that feeling. Don't let it slip. Don't let anything talk you out of it. Then watch. Watch how things start to move, how circumstances line up, how what looks like coincidence starts to happen. Not because you forced any of it, but because you assumed it into being. You were never waiting on the world to shift. You were only ever waiting on yourself to assume the shift had already happened. The instant that inner change takes hold, everything around you follows. People start treating you differently. Circumstances bend your way. Doors that seemed permanently shut swing open. What looked impossible starts to feel inevitable. And it all traces back to one simple idea: things are always working out for you. Make that your mantra, your prayer, your default thought. Say it when you wake up. Carry it as you move through your day. Hold it quietly, and in time you'll see it was never the world that needed changing, only your assumption about it. Your good isn't something you have to earn. It's something you only have to accept. And once you accept it as already true, life has no choice but to meet you there.
This isn't hope, it's principle. Not magic, but mechanics. Assume it's finished. Feel that it's finished. Live as though it's finished, and it will be. Let's return to how simple this actually is, because most people trip themselves up by overcomplicating it. They go searching for advanced techniques, rituals, elaborate routines. But the truth is, the plainest act of all produces the deepest results. The act of stepping into a state, mentally and emotionally, and staying there. No candle required, no timing the moon, no repeating a phrase 100 times, just the quiet knowing that it's already settled. What is assumption really, if not a silent understanding between you and the divine? When you tell yourself, "This too is working in my favor," you're syncing up with the intelligence that arranges everything, moving with the current of life instead of fighting it, trusting that events are unfolding exactly as needed to bring your desire into form. You won't always understand the route. You won't always see why a detour shows up. But hold your inner state, and those detours reveal themselves as disguised gifts. Grace working behind the scenes, arranging people and circumstances with precision. Your loyalty has to be to what you know inside, not to what's in front of your eyes. There will be stretches where everything around you seems to argue the opposite. The world will tempt you to drop your assumption. Money gets tight, someone walks away, an opportunity disappears. But none of this is punishment from some hostile universe. It's simply your own deeper self asking whether you'll stay loyal to your chosen state or react to passing shadows. Stay loyal, hold the feeling, walk in the knowledge that everything is arranging itself for your good, and you'll eventually watch it all reorganize. You'll look back and realize what felt like a setback was actually the setup. What felt like a problem was really the doorway to your answer. That's how this works. Belief bends it, conviction shapes it. And conviction doesn't come from repeating words, it comes from identity. You have to see yourself as someone for whom things always work out, not occasionally, not when luck cooperates, but always. Even now, hearing this, you're being invited back into that identity, reminded that you were never a victim of circumstances, but the one generating them. Never a wanderer in disorder, but a creator with authority. You were never meant to struggle or strain. You were meant to assume, to feel, and to receive. How do you know you're in that state? Relief shows up. Joy arrives without a reason attached. You catch yourself smiling at nothing. You stop grasping, chasing, needing. You become still, certain, aware that what you want already belongs to you on some unseen level, and therefore has to show up eventually. Don't worry about timing. Time answers to assumption, bending around what you believe. What takes other people years might reach you in days. What others have to grind for, you'll draw in with ease. That's not arrogance, it's alignment. Recognizing that your inner life comes first, and the outer world simply echoes it. You don't need to convince anyone or win an argument with logic. Just stay faithful, hold your conviction quietly like something precious, and let the results speak for themselves. Live from "everything is always working out for me," and your life itself becomes proof, a walking answer to prayer. People will ask how you did it, and you'll simply say, I assumed it, believed it, felt it, and moved through the world as though it were already true, and reality had no option but to catch up. Make this your daily rhythm. Not effort, but assumption. Not hustle, but rest. Wake up and step into the feeling. Move through your day and keep returning to it. Lie down at night, resting in the peace of a desire already met. Don't waver, don't look back. Keep moving forward in trust. When doubt stirs, anchor yourself back in the state. When fear whispers, answer it plainly. This too is working out for me. Say it until it becomes your default frequency. And once it does, your surroundings can't help but fall in line. You're not asking to be blessed. You're recognizing you already are. You're not manufacturing anything. You're simply revealing what's already true on a deeper level. You move from one point of knowing to the next, from one fulfillment to another, without resistance. In that inner posture, miracles start to feel ordinary. What once seemed far-fetched becomes your baseline, not because you're naive, but because you've woken up to who you actually are. Creative power in motion, imagination wearing a body. And when you assume, you build. So don't wait around for proof before you'll believe. Let your belief be the proof. Let your assumption be the cause. Let your inner world set the terms, because everything you experience is only an echo of a state you occupied earlier. Change the state, and the echo changes with it. Pause here and breathe. Let these words land somewhere deeper than your thoughts. Let them settle and take root. Start walking with the ease of someone whose wish is already met. Start speaking from a place of completion. Start looking at the world with eyes that see past the surface, because the unseen carries more weight than the seen, and whatever becomes real inside your imagination eventually becomes real in form. So once more, act as though everything always works out for you, because it does, because it has to, because you've declared it so. And that declaration is the seed everything else grows from. So let this be the final piece you carry with you. The one truth that outlasts every doubt you've ever entertained. You were never at the mercy of fate or chance. You were never a passenger drifting through random circumstance, waiting to see what the world would hand you next. You are the active force. You are the one doing the shaping, even in the moments you forgot it, even in the years you believed otherwise. Life isn't something that happens to you, it happens through you, as you, for you. Every circumstance you've ever lived in was quietly built from the inside, from an assumption you held so naturally you mistook it for reality itself. When you act as though everything always works out, you're not faking it, and you're not pretending for the sake of comfort. You're declaring it. You're standing in the full authority of someone who understands, down in their bones, that their imagination is the creative power, and their assumption is the governing law that shapes every outer condition. This isn't wishful thinking dressed up in spiritual language. This is the mechanism beneath everything you've ever seen made manifest, whether you noticed it or not. Let others call it delusion if they want. Let them shake their heads, offer their warnings, or explain in careful detail why it can't possibly work that way. Let the facts protest all they like, loud and insistent, waving their evidence like proof of a final verdict. You stay unmoved, calm at the center of it, because you've seen the truth, felt its pull in the quiet hours, and touched something real in the private stillness of your own mind. Something no fact, no statistic, no well-meaning skeptic can ever take from you. You know now, with a certainty that doesn't need defending, that nothing is too big, too distant, or too impossible. You only have to assume it fully and stay faithful to that assumption until it hardens into fact. Not faithful for a day, not faithful until the first obstacle appears, but faithful the way a person is faithful to their own name, without question, without renegotiation. Walk forward now, not as someone hoping, not as someone bargaining with the universe for a favor, but as someone who already knows. Wear the feeling of the fulfilled wish like your own skin, close and constant, letting it shape your tone when you speak, your walk when you move through a room, your silence when you say nothing at all. Let it live in the small, unconscious gestures nobody else notices, but that reveal unmistakably who you've decided to become. And as you do this, quietly, privately, without needing anyone's permission or approval, you'll watch, quietly amazed, as life rearranges itself around what you believe, as circumstances bend and doors open in ways that reason alone could never explain, and the unseen finally becomes seen, solid, undeniable. That's the whole secret. That's the entire power, and it was never hidden from you. You simply hadn't claimed it yet. Act as though everything always works out for you, because it will. It always has, even in disguise, even when you couldn't yet see the thread connecting belief to outcome. It always will, for as long as you remember to stand in it. Because you finally remembered who you are, and nothing, no old habit, no borrowed fear, no voice from your past can hand you back the forgetting. You have crossed a line you cannot uncross. From here forward, you build on purpose, or you don't build at all. Neville's voice.